A very good morning to all of you. Welcome to all of you to today's class. Before starting the class, let's do Brahmanath. Om Santi Santi Santi. So dear students, today let's start the concluding paragraphs of the chapter after 20 years. But before, tell me, how are you all? Hope all of you are fine. Read English properly, maintain your copy, and any doubt you just call me, okay? But before starting the concluding paragraph, let's focus on your previous paragraph of Unit 3. Here in Unit 3, in the first paragraphs, I have told you one thing, that Bob was waiting there in front of the hardware store, but a man came running to him, and the man introduced himself as Jimmy Wells and also asking, "Are you Bob?" Then they just shook their hand. They started focusing on their life, and in the meantime Jimmy Wells was asking him to go to a particular place where they could sit and they could gossip for a long time, and they also can reflect on their past. Okay, this was the theme of the beginning paragraphs. Now let's read. Go through your book so that you can understand it easily. The two men started up the street, arm in arm. Arm in arm means what? They are holding each other's arm, okay? Or it might be possible they were putting arm in arm, okay, like this, or they were holding their hands. But mostly whenever boys are walking, they are walking like this, not like this. They are walking like this, means putting their hands here and putting their hands on other person's arm. The man from the west, somewhat puffed up by success, is even when there was great friendship, but still the man from the west means who? Bob. Bob was feeling proud. He was feeling pompous because of the success, because now he is a successful person, and the success implies his diamond wristwatch. Understood? Was talking of his positions and of his important friends in Chicago and elsewhere. And what was he talking about? He was focusing on his important position, means what are the things that he is having. At the same time, he was also speaking on his important friends who were present in Chicago. The others, covered with his overcoat, was listening with rapt attention. Rapt attention means what? Deep attention. Understood? But the man who was wearing the long overcoat, and according to Bob, he was Jimmy Wells, okay? He was listening to Bob with deep attention, without any, means without being absent-minded. He was constantly, means he was completely focusing on Bob, what he was speaking. And they had not yet taken a good look at each other's face, but till that time they had not seen each other, because the man from the west, Bob, was standing in between the two lampposts, and there was no light. And when Jimmy Wells came, his face was covered up to this much by the overcoat, because it was raining. Understood my point? So till that time they had not seen each other's face. They neared a medicine store lit brilliantly, and while walking they came near a medicine store, and there was enough light, okay? It was properly lighted with electric lights are present, and it was, means a bright place. There each of them turned simultaneously, means at a time. Simultaneous means happening at a time, means they were holding each other's arm. Suddenly, listen, suppose they suddenly started looking each other like this, okay, and to gaze at the other's face. What did they do? They just turned to each other to see each other's face. The man from the west stopped suddenly, and the man from west, means so Bob, suddenly he stopped and let go the other's arm, and he just slipped the other person's arm he was holding, but he let right now. "You are not Jimmy Wells," he faltered. He spoke that, "No." Certainly he spoke, "No, you are not Jimmy Wells." Understood? Till now, we are thinking that the tall man with long overcoat was Jimmy Wells, but right now Bob was speaking that no, you are not Jimmy Wells. He was speaking with confidence but with a low voice. Okay, his voice was shaking. You are not Jimmy Wells. Likewise, he was speaking. And 20 years is a long time. 20 years, definitely it's a long time, but not long enough to change a man's sharp nose to a flat one. Did you understand what is being spoken? That it is a long time, but this is not a much long time that a person's sharp nose will be a flat one. Okay? Nose is sharp. How in 20 years the nose will be like this? Is it practically possible? Don't speak that by plastic surgery it is possible. Plastic surgery is not mentioned here. Understood? So, what is written we have to read. So, here a sharp nose can't be a flat nose. It's practically not possible. If your eyes are black, then in 20 years can it be blue? How it's possible? Definitely impossible. You can be fat, you can be slim, you can be tall, but you can't be short-headed. Understood my point? So, you can be tall only. Okay, to some extent your complexion might change a little bit due to the sunlight, etc., etc. But how means sharp nose will be the flat one? It's practically not possible. And then the man, the tall man in long overcoat, he is speaking, but it sometimes changes a good man into a bad one. What is he speaking? He is speaking that 20 years is not sufficient time to change a sharp nose to a flat nose, but in 20 years a good man can be a bad one. Who is speaking? That man, that tall man is speaking to Bob. You have been under arrest for 10 minutes. Now you are under arrest. It means who was that man? Definitely that man was a police officer. Otherwise, why did he say? You are under arrest. Okay? Bob or whatever your name is. Bob or whatever your name is. But you are under arrest. It means that stranger, the newcomer who was wearing a diamond wristwatch is under arrest. The commissioner of police, Chicago, longs. Longs means what? Desired. Okay? So here, what is mentioned? That commissioner of police, Chicago, he longs, he desires to have a chat with you. Chat means talk with you in connection with some bundles of $5 notes which have come his way, and now you are under arrest for 10 minutes. No trick, because the commissioner of police of Chicago, he is having the desire to talk to you regarding some fake currency note that came on his way, and that's why he wanted to talk to you. Please come quietly, please, and no tricks. Come quietly. Without playing in a trick, you just come quite quietly. Calm and quietly, you just come like a good boy. Don't try to play any trick. Before you go to the station, means they have to go to the station to go to Chicago or whatever it is. But before you go to station, or it might be referring to police station, here's a note I was asked to give you, and but before you go to station, there is a note for you, and I was asked to give this note to you. It's from Assistant Sub-Inspector Jimmy Wells. So, who is Jimmy Wells? Jimmy Wells was Assistant Sub-Inspector. Who the person might be? Might be the same policeman who was working smartly and waiting for the time 10:30. Correct or not? So, the tall man is speaking. There is a note for you. This one is being given by Assistant Sub-Inspector Jimmy Wells. The man from the west unfolded. Unfolded means what? Opened. Okay. The man from the west opened the letter. The little piece of paper handed to him. Handed means given. And the small piece of paper which has been given to him, the man from the west, Bob, he just opened the letter. His hand was steady when he began to read, and his hands were quite constant whenever he was starting the reading. Whenever he started reading, his hands were quite constant, but it trembled a little by the time he had finished. But when he finished it, his hands were shaking. It means something spicy must be there in that letter. The note was rather short, but it was a short note, very small note it was, but still the person's hands were shaking. Bob, I was at the appointed place on time, and here. What was the theme? It was written on time. I was on the appointed place. When you struck the match to light your cigar, I saw it was the face of the man wanted in Chicago. Then he is speaking, but when you struck the match to light your cigar, in that dim light, I was able to see your face. Then I realized that you are the same man who is most wanted in Chicago, who is speaking. The letter was speaking, not speaking, it was written on the letter, okay? It was from Sub-Inspector Jimmy Wells. Somehow, I couldn't do it, but I was unable to do it. Who is speaking? That is written in the letter that I was unable to do it. Do it means what? To arrest you. Myself. So I went around. So I went on the patrolling duty and got a plain clothes policeman to do the job. That's why, being a police officer, I was unable to arrest you because you have the same face of that notorious criminal who is most wanted in Chicago, and I saw you in the dim light when you struck the match to light the cigar, but I was unable to arrest you. That's why I sent a police officer in civil dress to arrest you. Okay, and this was the theme of the letter. It means, what did you understand? The man, the police officer was Jimmy Wells. He was also waiting for 10:30. That's why he was going quite speedily in order to reach the place. And it is also mentioned he was going to talk, but he stopped himself. He was going to shake the hand, but he stopped himself. Why? Because first was his duty. He wanted to check either the person is the fake one or the real one, because in his mind one thing was running, and what was that? That was to catch the notorious criminal who was who was doing the work of printing counterfeit note, illegal currency. That's why, being the best friend, being the friend from the childhood days, he was unable to do it because his conscience didn't permit him to do so. But he was not a negligible person who could neglect his duty. That's why he maintained the friendship with that person by not arresting him by himself, and did his duty by sending another man to arrest the person. Okay, did you understand it? Read it. You can write down the textual question answers in your copy, and if you have any doubt, you just ask me. Okay, till that time, thank you. Have a nice time. Okay.